be inside eternity. And so in this God, you have the portion of him that was, the various dealings that was. And God is not obligated to start doing all of those things again. You will need to refer back to his good ways of old. When that is done, however, since God has given us an ordination before the world began, you were with God. Where you were ordained is not in time. You were ordained with God. He says, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you, I sanctified you, and I ordained you. So your ordination, your purpose, the reason for your existence was furnished into you before you were formed. That one, it is not actually the product of men. What men do is that they fast track all your dealings, or rather all the dealings that should help you become the most effective version of yourself to move accurately in that your call. Because a person who have journeyed ahead of you, for instance, the first day I saw God's servant, I was sitting in the crowd in Kaduna. I've never shared this story. I thank God. I'll tell him today. Jesus was helping us, in our little way. And then he came for a meeting somewhere around a church close by. So I attended. And he was teaching. I was just looking at him in admiration. So he was teaching and he was moving, from side to side. And to my amazement, he said, while he was teaching, that, do they know why he's just moving around this side of, the congregation? That there is a grace. That is me and him know that he just helped me. That there is a grace that is sitting somewhere there. That please help me welcome my friend Apostle F. In my heart, I said, friend. Now see what happened. Immediately after that meeting, there were more than 40 people that gathered to collect my number. And I know it's not me. They just heard somebody endorse me. And suddenly, people who didn't think, that there is anything good about you, people who have ignored you all along, the moment somebody decided to share his, cloud with you, suddenly they begin to accord you that same honor. And then I from that day, I just realized that there is nothing I did physically, nothing I have done to earn that, break he gave me. I can tell you, my life changed from that day immediately. Immediately. And then, after some months, he came around. After a powerful meeting, he made some dangerous declarations over my life. And suddenly the doors to nations began to open. A person that his own state did not know, suddenly the utterance of a man now made that nations begin to now seek you. So one day I was thinking, because I wanted to pray some dangerous prayer in the meeting because the power of God was moving. I was somewhere in Enugu when I raised a song and people began to fall under power. I wanted to start, declaring things. And I remembered that someone drew me into his cloud. If I would operate there as a normal, what he has done for me is sufficient enough to bring me to that space. But for me to wield my own authority, for spirits to not ask, who are you at the end of the day? Because they will now say, Apostle Mike, we know. Who are you? Because what you are doing now is that the person has given you all the opportunity. This thing he gave me should have taken maybe 15, 20 years of labor. A man will compress time and draw you into his place. When he has done that, what he has done is, in case you don't even have that ordination, God will not link both of you. If you are not ordained for that, it is until you are ordained, then God will send somebody, a captain, to fast track your dealing. From that prayer, I began to yearn for fasting. If I eat some morning to be like I committed sin, I'll be feeling one guilt, intense guilt. I'll now start begging the Holy Ghost. It was time they were compressed. In Revelation chapter 17, quickly as we close. God was He is, and then he is to come. But I want to show us something very quickly as we go. Revelation 17 verse 8. Let's read together, everybody. 1, 2, go. The beast that thou sawest. Please, let's read together. 1, 2, go. The beast that thou sawest was. Wait. Remember how the government of God was established? That they started talking about the God of the ages past. He was first. Then he is. Then he is to come. But they say there is a beast that ascended, out of the bottomless pit. If you go further, you will see that they also gave him a little hint there that he also have 7 heads and 10 horns. But for want of time, we will not go there. That this beast that ascended, that the beast was too. But the beast is not. So but that beast will also come. So if you put the government of God, you have the God who was, the God who is, and the God who is to come. And the dealing of God for your life will start from was. So before you even know yourself, you have to make reference to what was written in the books. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 7 says, lo, I come in the volume of books. There are things about you that was contained with God that you must stumble upon. That one was older than before your body was formed. And so you have to now stumble on that to understand the why of life. And if you have not found the why of life, you will live for every other thing else. The operation of this beast is to create a cloud to remove that portion of is. And is actually eternity now, eternity present. Oh, so at the end, you can have these other 2 portions that before you were formed, I knew you. And then the same voice that say I knew you can tell you after you enter time, and this government that makes that the beast was, but the beast is not, and the beast will come. So you will be accurate before you were, you'll be accurate before you enter time. That is with God. When you were formed, your ordination is clear. Once you enter time, the program of this beast is to make sure that that session of eternity present, you will be missing in that space. So you will live for everything except for the program of God. And so the way this beast will operate, he will take that portion of time where you are supposed to flesh out what that ordination was for in the first place. He would write and use our life in a way that we would be missing in action, so that in the day where God needs you to deploy his investment in your life, you will be nowhere to be found. And so when they want to talk about how did you live your life, they will say you was, you is not, but you are to come, because you will meet a judgment at the end. It's a matter of alignment. You vow, I must manifest. Manifestation is warfare. It takes warfare to answer present to the roll call of God. God can be calling your name. Where are you? We have sent you 20 years ago. You can't answer present until your head pierces out of the canopy of darkness. When they now bring the sin that brought your great-grandfather down, brought your grandfather down, brought your father down, they brought you to you. It is at that day a man will attempt first to show both God. And when that thing is being presented to you, there will be silence. Both realms will be watching. The day you overcome, your name will become a constant conversation in heaven. Angels will be gisting. Have you seen my servant Job? A man was on earth. Spirits were talking about him. Then when transition seasons come, angels will begin to talk about their candidates. Because many spirits know who you are secretly. All the disguise and the hypocrisy is only for men. Every spirit knows who you are. That is where they will begin to present their candidates. Mind you, we are in a transition season, and it is an election season in the world of spirits. Spirits are casting their vote for who would handle different scepters. There are offices that will be left vacant. There are people. The way to gum your campaign posters in the world of spirit is your lifestyle. You will use holiness. Every temptation you overcome is another campaign poster that an angel pasted there. They say, vote Effa. They will begin to look for Mind you, it's not every purpose that God has on earth that will be given upon a man as a burden. There will be some purposes that men will compete for. Revelation chapter 5, the Bible says, also I heard the voice of the Lord, right? Saying, I heard a great angel proclaim with a loud voice, who is worthy? The criteria in that day is who is worthy. You are the one that is thinking everything is the free gift. There are certain things you will stand out from men. They know they didn't give you any extra strength. How did you overcome the temptation that brought your fathers down? It is that day you confronted the gross darkness. That day Satan know your name. They came for you. It's only on that day that you and a spirit actually had one-on-one. The devil was not around Jesus for all these years until God endorsed him. This is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased. The next thing you are hearing, the devil is tempting him immediately. Once your head punches out of the canopy of darkness, that is the excuse of the time. That's the first time you will not have the attention of Satan. I'm speaking to those who think that something is wrong just because they are beginning to be buffeted on all sides. Brother, it could just mean you are getting unusual attention. Your consecration is becoming effective. There is a portion where you enter, the next thing is persecution on all sides. It will break out. And mind you, you will never meet Satan. You will only meet men. And as it is, when Satan wants to commit his anger towards you, he will subscript men. Use them to do things that would, try to discourage you. When those things are playing out, like I said, it's not every affliction of the Christian that is because of compromise. There are times where people are going through what they are going through because they are actually accurate. It is accuracy that has, complicated things for them. And so tonight, in the light of the truth that we know, what Satan wants to achieve is to make sure that you are missing. The version of you God had in mind did not manifest. So they captured his government with that description. He was, he is not, but he is to come. So you will first have accuracy from the studios of ordination where they packaged and then furnished you with your particular work. Then when you enter time, you will not manifest. You will live your whole days in the adventures of the flesh. Then when you are through, you will go back to the court where they will compare you, because they will not judge you based on work. Nobody will be rewarded for doing work. You will be rewarded for doing the will of he that sent you. If you do any other thing that is not captured in that work, the fire will consume it. It's only the things that are ordained for you that will remain. So a lot of people, they will be missing. They didn't live. That portion of ease never happened in their life. This is why God has given us this charge. Every temptation you overcome gives you another edge in the spirit. Unfortunately, every temptation you fall for strengthens the flesh. The flesh will become stronger by every time you gratify that sin. Then a time will come, the flesh will no longer ask you as a temptation. It will lord over you. It will just bully you. It will just take a decision, and your spirit will have no stature to resist it again, because you have enabled it by obedience. Wherever you are, it's a good time to search our soul quickly. Let's bow our hearts. I will not give you a prayer point at this point. Just articulate the burden in your heart. Let it find expression. As the river flows, it begins to bring every death into life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. When the river flows, it begins to bring every death into life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. When the river flows, it begins to bring every death into life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. Wherever you are, Lord, check my tendencies. There are many things Satan can capitalize on. He knows they are inside here, and he's hoping that when he has allowed you to grow, then he will crash everything once. Ask the Lord, like David, try me, search me, see if there be any wicked way in me, lead me in the way everlasting. Try me, search me, help my heart, oh God. If you've journeyed away from the path of consecration and holiness, this is a good time to return. Quicken a love for you in my heart, oh God. Set my feet on the path of holiness. Let it flow, let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Let it flow, let it flow. Flow, let it flow right here, right now. And as the river flows, it begins to bring every dead thing to life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. As the river flows, it's a river of living water. It's a river of living water. It's quickening. It's holy river. It's impacting holiness. As the river flows, it begins to bring every dead thing to life.
It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. As the river flows, it begins to bring every dead thing to life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. As the river flows, as the river flows, it begins to bring every death into life. It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now.
The next 2 minutes, and I'll be down. Wherever you are, I don't know what Jesus has laid in your heart now. Jesus' conversation with the Samaritan woman was only able to achieve a well springing onto everlasting life. On the last day of the feast, Jesus cried out and said, "Who is it that thirsts?" Both the Samaritan woman and the person who thirsts, both of them will drink something first. When they drink, the impact of what they drink is not the same. From the person that God needs to do a lot of exegesis, argue with, finally, he will just have a well. Both of them are water sources though. Your well will only serve your family members, just a handful here and there. But he that thirsts, out of his belly shall flow rivers. The level of impact will not be the same. If God needs to be begging you, convincing you all the time, every time God must show you before you believe. God owe you an explanation. The one who thirsts, out of his belly, you will be a well. Only your father and your mother will say, okay, since you gave your life to Jesus, we have observed that there is relief in the family. There are other people that the whole city has been secured because of them. They are rivers. I don't know where you are, but if you know that God has touched your heart and God has given you an emphasis this night, and say, journey in holiness with me, journey in righteousness, and see how I will flesh out my will in your life. You know that a spirit emphasized consecration to you, and you want to journey on that path going forward. Please come wherever you are. Don't wait for others to come before you come. Come, I'm waiting for you. Quickly. As the river flows, it begins to bring every dead thing to life.
It's a life-giving river. Oh, let it flow right here, right now. as the river flows.
As the river flows, it begins to bring every death into life.
Life-giving